Alrighty, we are live. We're a little bit late because for some reason Google didn't show the broadcast button on the last Hangout for whatever reason. But welcome everybody to another episode of Fresh Coffee. This is the April 2015 episode, and we're back with. My name is Daniel Brennis, and my website is onemorecupofcoffee.com. This is Chris M. Cloutier from MediaFreshPress.com. And we're going to get to some new topics this month. How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I'm a little aggravated. I couldn't get my hair cut before the show, but I'll survive.
What's been new this month?
Oh, well, let's just jump right into it then. My computer crashed and left me stranded, man. So that's the most recent thing that's been going on for me this month. I did a podcast with Chris Lee Vela.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a pretty good, I'd say about a 45-minute episode where we talked about blogging and stuff like that. That should be posted on my blog today at MediaFreshPress.com. You just click the podcast thing; it'll be the first one up there. But we talked about that because I love his blog, man. I think it's a great looking blog. It's a topic I like, and he's got really good visual skills, I think, and his writing is pretty good. So I had him on there, and really that's it, man. Lots of work.
Yeah, I really like Chris's blog, a blog on blogging.com.
Mm-hmm.
Something that he does the visual stuff really well. He always publishes a like an infographic style header image, not even a header image. It's like almost like a publicity image that he posts with every single post, with like the post name and his logo on it, and it's like an appropriate picture, and it's a big image, and it's like super high quality. It looks really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he has some sort of like graphic design background that he can publish these, and he probably does it himself. I'm just guessing now. I think he's pretty active on Pinterest as well, because he's got this Pinterest plugin that you can pin that. And I've said before, Pinterest isn't really good for the internet marketing niche, but actually he does a pretty good job of making pin-worthy stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about was his activity on Pinterest and those images. He says he spends about 15 to 20 minutes making those images through Canva, which isn't a lot of time, I don't think, especially for how good they look and to get engagement like he's getting, which I really don't know any numbers or anything, but he's getting some pretty good engagement from Pinterest. So I think it's worth the 15 or 20 minutes that it takes to create a good little, I don't know what you'd call those, I guess a branded blog post image or something. I don't know.
Something like that.
Basically, it's just an image with your blog post title in it. And then I don't know if he puts his URL in the bottom, but something. Anyway, it's along those lines, and he does it pretty well. Spends a little bit of time doing it, and I think it's worth it.
The other thing I like about his website is just the layout is super easy to read, and I haven't figured out what it is about my site that is not like that. Mine looks, I don't know if it's my theme or my font choice or what. Mine looks like a text article. Like it just looks like a normal article you'd see anywhere else. Where Chris's and the other one is that does a really good job of this is, what is Jay's website? Affiliate
Resources.
Yeah, affiliateresources.org.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's almost like a. Oh, there we go. I keep typing the URL wrong, but can't get it to pull up. The thing, it's almost like there's like a thickness to the text. It makes it look like less like a text blog and more almost like it's painted on, like it's a graphic instead of a texting, and it just makes it so much more readable.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm big about that stuff too. I love like the different font styles and stuff like that. I'm gonna see what Jay is using really quickly. But elegant themes, that's what Chris is using. He's using that lucid elegant theme.
Really?
And yeah, that's a. I mean, if you, I tried it before too because I love the layout of it, but I just couldn't get it to work with my images. But he's done a really good job. But elegant themes, man, they're really good at just that really good looking layout. I don't know. I guess like a magazine kind of visual style to it. They're really good at that. But Jay, I think Jay has built his site on Joomla, so I don't really know what he's done there, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of font he's using right now. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess his looks a little more texty than I remember. But it's just fun. I was gonna say he's got nice H tags or whatever headings. That I know it sounds kind of dumb, but it looks like thick and bold, like you can read it. I don't know.
Now you know what? I've chosen whole themes based on how the headings look, man. If they don't stand out or look good, I wouldn't pick a theme. I think that's a big component to a good theme.
But anyway, so you did a podcast with Chris. Cool. Looking forward to listening to that.
Yeah, it was a good one. Should be published today.
Yeah. So what happened when your computer crashed?
Yeah. You know, I don't really know what caused it or why it happened. I have a few theories. Oh, I'm trying to close this here, but you know, whatever it was, it happened at the worst possible time. Thank God I had a Chromebook. The thing about a Chromebook is they're really good machines. I'd recommend everybody having one at least for a backup because you can get online, you can do your email, you can write. You can't really download any programs to it. So like one of the programs that I have to use a lot is Snagit or any type of screen recording tools like Camtasia, Screencast-O-Matic. You can't use those types of tools on Chromebook. But in an emergency situation like that, where your computer crashes, I think having a Chromebook is better than having a laptop because a laptop is likely to crash at any time too. They're not, you know, they're heavy, they're big. I mean, I guess it depends on what you've got for a laptop, but any laptop in my price range would be a Windows laptop, and it's going to be bulky and it's going to have problems. So it would be my luck if my computer crashes and I have to depend on some stupid Windows laptop for a couple of days, and then it would crash. So a Chromebook makes a really great backup computer to keep your business running for things like email, you know, doing your writing, checking on things in the cloud, just maintaining your business while your main computer is down. I kind of look at my main computer as a, you know, a desktop. I think if you're gonna be working online, you have to have a desktop. I really don't see how anybody could do it with a laptop, even though I know you did it for a while that way.
I was just gonna chime in and say I didn't own a computer for the first 4 years of running my business. So when I was in China, I was actually working on a used 3-year-old used laptop that I bought from my friend. It was because I never really was that into computers. Like I got my, so I was in the Czech Republic for about 2 years without a computer, and then I finally bought one secondhand, and I used that sucker for 4 years. So that was like 6 or 7 years old by the time it crashed, and I had to get rid of it. Then I bought another used one. Anyway, long story short, long story less long. I was working on a used Acer for about 2 years, and what I would do is when I would boot it up, I'd have to go and like make myself a sandwich because it would take so long to boot up that I would get bored. And a lot of times when I was working on WordPress, what would happen is it would freeze. So at that time, I wasn't typing outside of WordPress and text documents. I was typing in WordPress, and I'd write a 500-word blog post, and it would crash halfway through. WordPress wouldn't crash; the computer would crash or freeze, and I'd lose everything. So maybe that's how I kind of worked on my typing skills, is that I just have to write everything over and over again. And finally, I said, I wasn't even making money at that time. I think I made a couple sales before I finally decided to get a new computer. I said, I'm wasting so much time waiting for this computer to load up and to load web pages and whatnot, that I have to get a new computer. But I still got a laptop, and I worked on that for another 2 years, maybe longer. I didn't, because I was in the US for a year down in Riverside, and I didn't get a computer until just a couple months ago. I got a iMac. But it does make a world of a difference, having a big screen and having everything just like stationary. So, I mean, yeah, you can do it from a laptop, but it's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying you can't, but I think that, man, having a big desktop, dude, it's like, I don't know. It's just because you have the monitor. And one thing I hate about laptops is that you can't really do the standing desk thing very well because your keyboard is attached to it. So no matter what you do, your keyboard is going to be up here if you're trying to put the monitor right, or it's going to be down here. So that's one of the greatest things about having a regular desktop computer. And laptops get moved around, and I think that's what causes them to crash a lot of times, because they have that spinning hard drive in them, man, and you're moving that thing around all the time. I mean, I know they're built for that, but I don't think they can handle it that well. And that's why a Chromebook is great, because it doesn't have that. It doesn't have, store anything. So it's cloud-based computing. So that's why it's great to have as a backup, because it's not going to fail. I mean, I'm sure that they can. I've had this one for, I don't even know how long now, over a year. And it's been pretty good. Everybody I've talked to about them, they say they're really, really good. This one's been dropped, kicked, just all kinds of stuff, man. It's like having, I don't know if you know anything about like trucks and stuff, like work trucks. It's like having a Toyota truck, man. It's just there. It's always there. It cranks right up. You never have any problems with it. And so that's helped me. But doing all this has really made me think about how I back things up to the cloud and stuff like that. So we can get into that now if you want to, or whatever.
Last thing I wanted to say about the laptops is that actually the reason I got a computer this time around was that my laptop, the motherboard, busted in 18 months. So maybe they are kind of, you move them around a bit, and I did take it a bunch on the motorcycle. I wonder if that, because I was going back and forth between the Central Valley and Riverside, strapping that thing to the back of my bike. So maybe that contributed to it. But yeah, 18 months and it was dead. And I had another laptop, but I didn't have anything backed up to the cloud. So luckily I was able to get in there for 5 minutes and transport everything to the cloud real quick, pull it off onto a hard drive. And luckily I was able to do that. Otherwise I would have lost a bunch of stuff. It wouldn't have crushed me, but it would have been a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I did have some stuff back there. I'm glad that I became such a big Google fan, because I used Google Drive and all that stuff. Google Drive was really what saved me, because I learned that, you can do documents and all that kind of stuff in there, but the best part is that you can really save anything there. So like Dropbox is a little bit different. With Dropbox, I guess it's made for, just straight up backup. But Google Doc or Google Drive, you can do really anything, and you can write, you can make a presentation, you can do all that stuff, and you don't have to worry about it. But every time I would buy a new theme or a new program or a new plugin, I would always, install it on my website or do whatever the purpose of it is. But then I have a file in Google Drive where I save all that stuff to. Some of them are pretty big and they may take a few minutes to actually get in, get in there and save. So you might have to, but man, it's well worth it because I haven't lost. I still have everything I had. I mean, I lost a couple things, but they were things that I really didn't use that much. I don't even know what it was. So everything I had was backed up into Google Drive, no matter what it was. So my point in all this is saying, like, whether you use Dropbox or Google Drive, whichever one you find best, I would definitely make sure you have a folder on your desk. I'm gonna do a screen share really quickly so I can show you in Google Drive how to
Okay.
set this up really quickly. So hopefully it'll pop up here. So are you seeing that?
Yes.
Okay, so in Google Drive, let me make sure how is it. You have okay, so when you yeah, okay. So when you download it to your desktop, you'll get the icon here, you'll get a little folder here, and it acts just like a regular folder. I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with all this stuff. So you can, you can drag anything you want to into this regular folder, and it's gonna back up to Google Drive. But one of the problems that I had was that what you don't realize about these Google Drive and Dropbox folders is that everything you're saving in Google Drive, it's backed up. So I mean, what is it in Google Drive, like a terabyte of storage or something like that? But when you have this folder, and it's the same with Dropbox, when you have this folder, it's also being saved to your hard drive. So when you start backing things up, you can come over here, and Dropbox works a little differently, but it's a similar process. It's the same idea. You'll right click this thing and hit settings and go to preferences. And then you see here where it says sync options. You can sync everything in your drive or only these certain folders. So you'll see that I only have, my Scrivener files backed up, and whatever else is just randomly dropped into Dropbox. So, but if you look in my Google Drive, it's huge. I have a ton of stuff in there. So my point in saying that is that you can back things up and without it being on your hard drive and still have the syncing capabilities that you get with downloading Google Drive or Dropbox to your computer. So, you'll have to figure out Dropbox on its own, but I mean, it's going to be the same concept. Right click the icon and look for your sync options, and do not sync everything in your drive, because that's what I did, and I was running out of hard drive space, and that may have been what contributed to the failure of that last computer. I don't know for sure, but I'd say it could have had something to do with it. The computer was old anyway, but but you can see here I've got all kinds of stuff in here, man. These are all my zip files. Like, this is SEO, the all-in-one SEO pack. There's a ton of themes and plugins in here. There's all kinds of videos in here. There's probably like 20 videos here. So all that stuff would also be saved on my hard drive if I hadn't chose to, sync certain folders like I showed you here. So that's one big thing that I think is going to help. Not only will it help save your space on your hard drive, but you can sync everything. And every time you're syncing, you're using bandwidth, so that could slow you down too. So that's one thing I learned through this whole thing that I think has been pretty helpful. And really experiment with what you can and can't back up. Like I said, these themes, these plugins and stuff like that, they're worth trying to put in Google Drive. Like we talked about Scrivener once before, I wanted a way to be able to write and back it up, and I'm glad I did, because if I hadn't figured out how to back it up into Google Drive, I would have lost everything. I've got two books in my Scrivener projects. I've got my freelance work. I've got my blog work, because I have a project that's just for my blog where I save it, like Media Fresh Press, April, May, all that stuff. So all that stuff would have been gone. So anything you do online, you should definitely be backing up. I mean, there's a way to back up pretty much everything. You just have to figure out what it is. And I think Google Drive is a little bit more flexible or functional with stuff like this rather than Dropbox. So
Do you pay for Google Drive?
no, you can get a premium thing, but when I bought the Chromebook, they gave me like I don't even know how many years, but a few years of upgraded storage and stuff like that. But I think if I remember correctly, to upgrade, they have a few different packages, but the one I'm on, which is just the next one up from free, is like $16 a year. And you seen when I showed you in my drive, I'm 4% full. So, and you, like you, I just showed you everything I got in there, so I'll never fill that up, never.
Yeah, because I think for free users, it's you. At one point, I think you had 5 GB. I don't know what they give now. Um, I actually, it's funny. I use Dropbox.
Really.
Yeah, I don't store. Let me see how much Dropbox is.
Well, Dropbox has a free thing too, right?
Yeah. Um, Sometimes it's such a pain in the ass. Sorry, I keep saying ass this episode. It's such a pain. I don't know why this company can't just list how much it costs to sign up. Oh, there it is, way at the bottom. Okay, Dropbox free is 2 GB. Dropbox Pro for a terabyte is $10 a month, and then they have Dropbox for business. And I think it's cheaper if you go yearly. But yeah, I just never really got into Drive, or Drive wasn't around. It wasn't that popular when I signed up for this for cloud stuff. And I mean, even before I think you got 100 GB. Yeah, it must have been 100 GB for Dropbox for whatever the payment plan was. And I got it because my computer crashed or was crashing. That was a couple years ago. I almost lost everything. And then I just got out of the habit of using it. And then my computer crashed again. And I was like, all right, now I got to be more diligent about putting stuff in there. A lot of my stuff like plugins and whatnot, I know I can download that again. So I don't really put that in there. Mostly what I put is videos and text files. So even then, I'm not that diligent about that because I think I should be more clear on this, but I think Mac backs it up to your iCloud account. So I'm pretty sure I can recover that.
Oh, is that true?
I think so. I mean, you get some kind of gigabytes with iCloud. I don't know how many, but I'm pretty sure it backs it up.
That's really interesting. I did not know that. That might change my PC buying thing here in the future.
But I think Windows has one too.
Oh yeah, they do have OneDrive, and it's terrible. That's right, they do have it, and I hate it. I hate it. I forgot about that. They do have OneDrive, which is like having Office in the cloud, and it's a mixture of like Office in the cloud, so they're kind of imitating Google Drive, and then Dropbox too. I guess it's clunky, and I don't like it at all.
It's almost like there's too many storage options. You've got Google Drive with your Google account, and then you've got a free. You can have a free Dropbox thing, and then if you're on Windows, you can have the OneDrive, and you have all these like storage options, little bits and pieces. But to kind of consolidate everything, you eventually kind of have to pay for it. I mean, 2 GB or 5 GB isn't that much.
Mm-mm. No, but I think it's definitely worth it to look into it before things go badly. And I mean, I'm sitting here thinking too, like even Microsoft Word, you can find a way to back that up and have it sync to Google Drive or Dropbox or whichever one you want to use. So I'm trying to stress this point, and I know it sounds lame because everybody, back your stuff up cloud computing, but you need to look beyond that. Don't just back your stuff up. You need to look for ways to sync it and look for everything that you do. Make sure that there's a way that it's saved.
I use email a lot. like for license keys and
Yeah.
so don't hack my email, anybody, because all my tax information is in there. But I email my stuff all the time, and I put keywords in there because I know I'll try to predict what I'll search if I forget what it is. So if I put a license key, I'll put like I won't just mail myself the license key. I'll put like date that I bought it and username, password, and what it was called, what it's used for, some stuff like that. That way I know it's in my inbox. And I've used that before where I've searched stuff from like 2 or 3 years ago, found like pictures of stuff that I needed or FTP passwords that I needed or something like that where I couldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah. On that note, really quickly too, there's two things, actually a few things I've been using for that. Evernote is great because you can add tags and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff you can do with Evernote that isn't readily apparent. But there's Google Keep is great. So I use Google Keep, which is, a little kind of like sticky notes, but it automatically saves. It's really cool. We might have talked about it before. I don't know.
I was going to ask you about that. I don't know what it is.
So Google Keep, I'll show you one more time. Google Keep, you can do it in your browser or whatever, however you want to do it. But like you'll see here that I have it here, and it'll just take me to the web version of it. But I also have it here, down here at the bottom. I hope you can see that.
Yeah.
In my taskbar.
Yeah, we can see it.
And it's on my phone and on my Chromebook. And so anytime, dude, I can just random ideas or whatever. It usually doesn't take this long to come up either. It's because I'm doing the screen share. But you can see I just keep random stuff in here all the time. You can color code it. You can.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, now they have these where you can add labels to it. So that's pretty cool. That's a new feature that they have. But you can color code it. You can do audio. You can do images. You can set reminders on the notes. You can do checklists. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. But now Google has I can't get to it on here. But anyway, Google has the new inbox now. Have you seen that?
Inbox?
Yeah, the inbox for Gmail.
No,
it's a new app where they basically combine the features of Google Keep with setting reminders and stuff like that with your inbox. It takes your inbox and puts everything in one single column again, and you can snooze emails, you can write drafts and set reminders for it to send later. It's pretty cool.
It's almost sometimes Google is kind of weird. Like they develop multiple things that do similar, multiple apps or whatever you want to call them that do similar things. It's like, why have Keep and Drive and Inbox? I guess if you're a Google user, that's like, and you use that exclusively, you can learn it and you can learn the intricacies of these things, and then you can kind of use them for different stuff. But it just, I think it's what's the word? A bit of not a foreshadowing. It doesn't bode well for these services. At some point, they're going to kill them or combine them into something. Just like Google Plus. Now, I don't know what. So now they're taking Google Plus and they're dividing it into photos and streams and communities and Google Hangouts into like 5 separate services. So from what I hear, from what I understand, Streams is going to be like Google Plus, but without the plus. I don't know how that's going to fit into the social thing. But then there's communities as well that supposedly they're planning on keeping. And then they'll have Hangouts as well that are going to integrate with YouTube. And then, I don't know. We'll see. But Google Keep does look pretty nifty with the different color codes.
Yeah, the good thing about that one is it has been around for a few years, so I think it's going to stick around, or they'll combine some version of it, like you said. But I'm pretty confident in it sticking around. The new inbox thing I was just telling you about, I don't know about that one yet. We'll see, but it is pretty cool. We'll see how that goes, though.
Does it like manage all your notifications or something? How is it different than email?
Well, it's what they do is I guess in a way they've kind of brought it back because you know how in Gmail now you have different labels, like
Uh,
you have whatever it is, you have 3 or 4 different labels or however many you have in yours. Well, they've taken all those and instead of having them side by side, they've put them back under each other, and now you have one single column. I know it sounds redundant, like
Here's Google's business plan. Okay, we're going to take your email. We're going to split it up into different labels. Then we're going to create a new service so that you can combine those labels into one single column.
it is kind of redundant, but the new, like I said, the new inbox lets you take your emails and like snooze them. The reason I'm even bringing it up is because my inbox is always full. You know, I have client projects and stuff like that, or things that I want to get to later, or like I said, a client project that might not be done yet, so I don't want to delete that email. Sometimes I'll take that information and put it in a note somewhere, but it's easier just to keep the email there. So I have lots of emails that are always going on, and using this new inbox app, I think my inbox is down to less than 10 now, which is like insane for me. It's crazy. So it's been pretty helpful.
I'm obsessive about keeping my inbox at 0. So if something comes in, like I know I waste a lot of time in email, but if something comes in, I read it, I take care of it. If something is ignored, I delete it or mark it as read or whatever. Like my dad drives me crazy. He has like 20,000 unread emails. I'm like, how do you know which unread emails are the ones you need to read and which one not? He only opens the ones that he wants to read, and everything else he just leaves as unopened.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy, man. Sometimes I have nightmares about my inbox as it is. Like, can't sleep. I gotta just delete a few more.
Speaking of nightmares about my inbox, I'm going camping this weekend, and it'll be the first time since I've left the computer for more than a couple days. So I'm already getting stressed about my inbox on Monday. We're leaving this afternoon. I'll be able to manage some emails, and I don't want to be like on vacation working. Luckily, we don't have phone signal there, so I won't be able to work. But I mean, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and I'll have 20 emails, and then I'll answer throughout the day. I can imagine on Monday I'll have over 100 emails that I need to sort through at least. Not all of them will be pressing, but 100 or so emails on Monday to look forward to.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't know, man. It's tough for me. When I do stuff like that, I just have to totally push it out of my head because it'll drive me crazy otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it for I haven't left the computer for a whole year, so, which sounds terrible. So I need to get out. I mean, it's gonna be what's that called? Cold turkey, where I'm not gonna have any access. So I'm gonna be outside for 24 hours a day, away from the computer for 3 days straight. It's going to be cold turkey tech. There's a word for it. Tech detoxify. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Sure, I'm trying to have fun, trying not to stress about the work. So I'll have to report that on the.
You may
I'll be
want
doing
to.
another. Sorry, I'll be doing another training webinar. Oh, not yeah. Okay, we'll do the next Saturday. I won't do this Saturday, but I'll do the next Saturday with my Saturday morning brew.
I was gonna say you may want to carry a card or some type of bracelet on you just to let the nurses or the ambulance drivers know, like, just I need a computer. Just have a card that says, "Here's my blood type and I prefer Mac."
Yeah. Here's my email password. Just start feeding the emails to me.
Right. Oh man. Well, good luck on that.
Speaking of this camping trip, and you posted something very appropriate within the fresh coffee community. I didn't actually get a chance to read it, but I read the headline and I was like, that is definitely what's going on here. It's using limitations to boost your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I think it works because I've been in like this slump lately where I don't want to work on my site. I feel like I'm kind of in a rut where I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then this camping trip came up last week, and just this week, I was like, I had all these great ideas for my website. And now I went from in this rut where I just felt like it was just the same every day. And, working from home, especially, it's like sometimes I wouldn't leave the house for like 4 days, and then I'd go shopping and then come back. Anyway, it was like this rut where I just felt like I wasn't making progress. And then this camping trip comes up, and I don't know if it's related or not, but suddenly this week I have 5 or 6 new ideas that I want to try out for business in general, and specifically for One More Cup of Coffee. But it's like now I don't have time to do them. So I did a bunch of shopping for the camping trip, and we're leaving today. And now I feel like, oh man, if only I had another week, I could get this stuff at least started. And now I have to kind of stew on it over the weekend. But I think maybe it was the stress of like thinking I'm going to be away for a couple of days. I need to get stuff done that kind of got those creative juices flowing.
Yeah, that's when I read that post. I was like, that's definitely how I am. We've talked before about setting timers and stuff like that, and I'm definitely that kind of person. A lot of people, I think they call it like, you perform better under pressure, but I don't really think that that's the case. I mean, that's maybe the way that it looks and the way that it seems or whatever, but I don't think that's the actual problem. I don't think being under pressure is like what makes it there. I just think that maybe it's a challenge, or I really don't know. But I know when I set a timer for myself, that's just, it is what it is. I'm forced to focus maybe, and I have to do that one thing. And it's like, even when I used to play like racing games and stuff when I was a kid, I always noticed this about myself. I never said anything because I thought it was weird, but like when I was racing, if I was winning and there was no car in front of me, I got bored. So I'd let the other cars come around me, so then I had a challenge, you know what I mean? So I think it's that type of thing.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. If there's a bit of resistance, then there's almost like a pressure to do better.
Yeah.
Like even for me, I guess this is getting more into the psychology of things, but I can see when now that I'm in Modesto and I just kind of do my own thing, I don't really know anyone here. I think that contributed to the kind of boredom with my business and my website and whatnot. But when I was living in Riverside and I was talking to people, and they were all going to school doing their PhDs, I felt a little bit more like pressure, like they're doing something with their life. I kind of got to do something with my life, and I felt like that kind of spurred me a little bit of unbeknownst to them, but
Mhm.
life competition. Where I'm like, all right, you're doing something, I got to do something too. Where now, when I'm not talking to them, I was like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, that makes total sense, man. I really think that is how things work. Even if it's subconsciously to you, I think that the mind tends to work that way. We're competitive, by nature, even if we're not like crazy, insane competitive. But I think there's a part of everybody that needs a challenge or needs something to, I hate to say compare yourself to, but at least compare your efforts against or something like that.
Yeah, I can see. I remember when I was starting out, and I used to because it can work against you too.
Mhm.
If you're looking at people who are doing so much better than you, quote unquote doing better. You look at websites that have more traffic or people that who are making more money, and it can almost make you want to quit. You're like, how am I ever going to achieve that? But if you can find that balance of someone who, or a business, or whatever thing category you want to put it under, who is kind of on your level but maybe doing a little bit better, that you can kind of like even if you don't know them, you can secretly spar with them to kind of push yourself, like they're achieving this, maybe I just need to push myself a little bit harder and then I can achieve that too. Whereas, if you're making, let's say you're just getting started this month and you read an article about someone who's making $40,000 a month online, you can be like, I'm never going to be able to do that. Why even try to get started? Whereas if you see someone who got started 6 months ago and they're making $5 a month, like you're like, hey, I think I could do that. I can last 6 months. I can commit 6 months to this. $5 isn't that much. I can make one sale a month.
Yeah, I like that the sparring thing. Like, I like that you're kind of sparring, even though it's within yourself. I like that. I like that phrase there, sparring with yourself, or sparring with whatever it is, the business or the blog or whatever.
Secret competition.
Secret competition. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, so I have some really exciting projects. Part of the issue now is that I have all these projects that I want to work on, and I don't know how to. I want to share them and keep track of them, but I don't want to be like, I think it'd be really interesting case studies, but I don't want to do another bombed case study. I see, like, I've done this personally, and I see a lot of people do it where they start this case study. It's going to be super exciting. They're going to prove all this stuff. They're going to find out all this information. And then 6 months later, it kind of starts to peter out. I did that with my Cool Chair Zone blog, where I did, which was such a dumb idea. I don't know why. The background of that is that I wanted to do like a live niche choosing, and then I didn't have any good ideas on the live when I was doing the recording, so I just chose something. And then, unfortunately, I committed 30 lessons to that one website. Anyway, so I did this Cool Chair Zone blog, and then 6 months later, I was bored with it, so I never ended up following through with it. So I wanted to develop my motion sensor sprinkler website. I've got this cool theme that I want to test out and see if I can really do a small niche site just about motion sensor sprinklers. It's called motionsensorsprinkler.com. I don't know if I want to do it just on motion sensor sprinklers, maybe about anti-cats or anti-critters. I think that'd be a cool topic. I think there's plenty of products to promote. Anyway, I want to test out this theme, so I'm doing this theme test. I have a new, let's see, how do I describe it without giving it away? I have a new thing. I want to try a new lead generation tactic that I want to try for One More Cup of Coffee. It's nothing like new or genius, but I just want to try something out with One More Cup of Coffee and see how it goes. And what was my other big? Oh, I have a couple of reviews coming out for some products that I bought this week that I think were actually pretty good products. I'm surprised. Usually what I review is junk, so I'll be coming out with that in the next couple of weeks. Some email stuff that I want to try out. I want to send out some new emails to my list, do some new promotions, see how that goes. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear about all that. I must have talked forever because like there's only 10 minutes left, but I was really hoping to talk about some of that, the funnel stuff and the testing and failing and stuff like that.
All right. Well, I guess we can cover some of the failures so much. I sent out some email, like the funny thing, or funny, frustrating thing is that whenever you read successful websites, even my own, you read about the success stories, and you read, oh, how I generated 1 million subscribers, or how I increased my revenue by 500% in 3 months, and blah, blah, blah. And you hear about the success stories, but people don't blog. don't blog a lot about their failures. Some people maybe intentionally because they don't want to look like a failure, but some people unintentionally because it's hard to quantify a failure. Like, how do you write? Okay, let's say I got 1,000 subscribers yesterday. I can write a blog post how I got 1,000 subscribers. But let's say I did an experiment that failed. How do you write about that? How do you say how I failed to meet my goals today? Like, it just doesn't. I think if you could properly quantify that failure, you could say how I tried to get 1,000 subscribers and failed, even though it doesn't sound as nice. But I don't think people set a goal like I need to get 1,000 subscribers and then you just bomb. But anyway, so I sent a bunch of email promotions in the past month, and all of them bombed. I got one sale out of all of the promotions I did. So thanks. I know Steve is watching. Thank you, Steve, for buying Snagit. But out of all the promotions I've done, they've all dropped the ball, whatever you want to call it. Like traffic on my website, it's pretty stagnant. I'd say I post twice a day. I have been posting twice a day since November, and it's been pretty stagnant. So that's like 300 posts that have not done anything spectacular on my website. I thought I had a big list, but maybe I'll think of it in a second. But basically, yeah, I mean, that's the natural part of business. It's like you do 10 things that fail and one of them succeeds. And then you write about that thing that succeeds.
Yeah, that's two really hard things. Because like you're talking, I want to go back to the failure thing or writing about your failures or whatever, telling people about them. Like, that's something I want to do. But it's like you said, it's like, how do you put it into words and how do you explain it? And even if you could, like, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. I'm kind of glad you mentioned that because I think I'm going to try to look at it a different way, and maybe I'll be able to come up with some good posts or podcasts and stuff like that because I would like to catalog all my failures and put them up, not only for everybody that comes to the blog and checks it out, but for myself, because then I can see them from the over-the-top view. So it is really difficult to do, though. I've tried it a few times, and you can come up with, I can come up with a little bit of content for it, but it's definitely not enough for a post, and I don't think it's insightful for anyone else. So I'm going to have to retry that again.
It's like, okay, let's say my motion sensor sprinkler website fails or I don't follow through with it. Like, what do you say? How I didn't follow through with building a website on a new theme. How did you not follow through with it? You just didn't do it. Like, end of story. Or I think maybe if you create more definitive goals, like right now my goal with the motion sensor website is to make money, but that's kind of general. Like, maybe if I set a goal of like creating 5 posts a month for it and what I hope that goal is going to do. So my goal is create 5 posts a month and generate 20 visits a day to this website, and do that and then evaluate what I did, how it failed, why I think it failed, and then reevaluate how to move forward. I try to generate 5 posts of content per month. I failed to meet that goal because lack of interest, because I was lazy, whatever. And then eventually, I mean, maybe that could lead to success if you see these failures and you categorize them month after month or week after week. But then if it peters out, if you don't track it, you're like, how I failed to meet my goals this month. I forgot. I didn't have time. I didn't have motivation. Like, that's just going to be the same post week after week.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, that's where a lot of failures come from, is one of those types of things. So you could, like, it would be different if you could say, I was trying to collect 500 more subscribers this week, so I tried this new plugin. Then I found out this type of plugin doesn't handle that much traffic, or my server does, you know what I mean? That would be different. But a lot of failures come from I just didn't freaking do it. I didn't have the motivation, or I forgot, or life happened, or something like that. So it's really hard, first of all, to bring yourself to write that and be open about that, and second of all, like, what, there's not much you can say. So,
And sometimes it's just that you didn't do it long enough. Like, imagine if someone started a blogging website and they're like, okay, I wanted to make money online and I tried it for 6 months and it didn't work, so it's a failure. Like, the failure isn't that you did it wrong, you just didn't do it long enough. And so how can you say, like, if you do try a plugin, you're like, oh, I wanted to collect leads with a pop-up and it didn't work. Maybe your tagline wasn't good enough. So the failure point wasn't the plugin; it was the writing you did, the sales pitch, or whatever you want to call it, the lead generation text, whatever you want to call it. So it's like you don't really know the point of failure. How can you define the failure if you don't know where the failure is?
yeah, and I like that you said maybe setting more definitive goals. That's a pretty good way to approach things too. That's one thing I'm really bad at too, is setting definitive goals. I'll do it in my head, but I don't think that really sets them. So yeah, that's good stuff, man. This has been a very like philosophical episode.
And like, related to that, speaking of successes, like, I like to talk about this because I feel like a lot of people get frustrated during the business process, and it feels like everyone's doing it right except for you. But my own successes have not been planned. Like, I just do spaghetti on the wall, shotgun style, try everything, and then pick the best out of what's left. I started out with 40 something websites and whittled it down to 5. I did not have a very good plan, and my success of however you want to define it, generating traffic or making money online or working from home, whatever, was not a result of me writing down a business plan. It was a result of me just doing a bunch of stuff every single day and hoping for the best. So it's not like now I can look back and now I have a bit more experience. I can kind of say, like, okay, this is right, this is wrong, this is what worked for me. But then it was like, whatever, just do everything and hope for it, which is the wrong way to go about it. But that's how I got where I am today.
I think that's important too, especially in the beginning when you're not really sure of how to create those plans or come up with real good strategies. One thing that my dad was real big on was, just like, if you don't know where to start, just start somewhere. I would always get confused as a kid working on houses, like I didn't really know what to do. And when I realized that if I just got moving, even it might not be the right thing, but at least you're going, and you can gather that experience, and then in 6 months from now you have all that to go back on. Like you said, you've got all that spaghetti on the wall. You can start refining your process, and you'll realize, this spaghetti didn't stick. This spaghetti didn't stick. This one did. So yeah, I think it's good to just start moving and getting that stuff out there. I think something I can't remember who it was. The guy that invented the light bulb, Thomas Edison or whatever, like he tried like all types of stuff to get it to work, like thousands of different things to get it to work. And he said it wasn't like he had a spark of genius. It was just this, he didn't give up. He just had this, this millionth thing that he tried, and it just happened to work. He tried beard hair. And so that shows you how persistent he was.
Yeah, I mean, like, all right, your hair doesn't work. Next one, like,
yeah,
line them up.
Yep.
Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I guess, yeah, failure to, I've failed hard the past 6 months trying to generate more traffic. Like it's stable, but it's not failed hard. Failed hard with my email promotions. But I'm still trying. Like I said, I got a great new promotion coming up for my email list. I think it's going to be really successful. I have hope for the next coming months. April's kind of a slump month. I think summertime has always been kind of a ramp up month for me as far as traffic. So I think that's going to be good. And then I have a couple new projects that I want to work on. So, I mean, things are looking positive.
Yeah, I will say too, really quickly, like my big failure, I'll go again in the last 6 months, like you did, has been my consistency. So, and I have hope for the next few months too. But I think these next 30 days, so like hopefully by the time we do our next episode, I'll have all the stuff figured out, because it wasn't until the last few months that I realized my problem was, being consistent and just moving forward. I was overanalyzing things. So I've only just now realized that. So I'm hoping, by the time we do our next episode, I'll be in a different spot. I'll have more production out there, more content, because I have so many places I want to put content, man. But I just haven't. So my big failure has been being consistent, trying to come up with this perfect thing, this perfect mousetrap. And in the meantime, I've done nothing. So, or not enough. I won't say nothing, but not enough. So
I think that's maybe that's a sign of being an entrepreneur or being a business owner. Is that no matter how much you do, it feels like it's not enough.
oh yeah, I'm sure of that. It's never going to be enough, I'm sure. That's what makes it fun, right?
Fun, I don't know, but alrighty, man, we're up on time. We were going to talk about Facebook ads a bit, but which is another thing I'm excited about. But I'll talk about that next month when I get some of these posts out. But yeah, anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
No, I'll just say that I'm planning on running a few Facebook ads pretty soon too. So maybe next time we can talk about it and we'll both have some good recent experience with it.
Also, sorry to Steve Miller. I just checked the Q&A app. I see Steve's been in there.
Oh no.
Let me just run. Steve says, Nathaniel, your work has value, has totally inspired me and other people too. So much so I don't, my day job, I don't know what that last sentence means, but I'm glad it's inspiring you, Steve. I know you're very active and you're going to see results because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Steve says hi, and Jay does use Joomla. Oh, and Steve used to live in Riverside.
That's cool. Yeah, totally.
he says, I love the screensaver. Lily Munster is so hot.
Yeah, yes, she is.
Sorry, we ignored you in the Q&A. I got used to no one commenting on there. So, and another comment from Lisa. I guess we're doing bad by our listeners here today. Lisa wanted to know about my rats. Fruit Loop is one of them, and the other one she seems to have named Captain Crunch. They're doing good. The Captain Crunch, which is not her name, but I'll call her that just because I don't have a better name for her. She's getting fat. I don't know if she's stealing food from the other one or what, but she's a bit of a fatty. But yeah, they're doing good. They're tearing stuff up. They just bite everything. Like they're not biters. They don't bite me, but anything next to their cage, they reach out their little 4-finger palms and they'll like try to grab it and they want to bring it into the cage and tear it up and nest with it. So, funny. Alrighty, let's sign off for today.
Thanks everybody
who joined and is watching. Thanks everyone who's watching the replay, and we'll see you next month.
See you guys. Thanks.